Tighten Up, the podcast, is brought to you by Hyperice, the leading provider of innovative technology for recovery, mobility, and improved performance. They help the Titans. They can help you too. Learn more online at hyperice.com.
Detroit, it's time to tighten up. Welcome to Tighten Up, the podcast, presented by The Shield NIL. Brought to you by Hyperice and Last Shot Energy. A state of the Titans, the latest in Detroit Mercy athletics, and a chance to hear from Titans all over the world. Here's your host, Dan Hasty.
And it's now time for part 2. We just can't get enough of this conversation with Antoine Davis. How cool is it to be able to reflect upon one of the greatest individual performances in the history, not just of Detroit Mercy, but in the history of scoring in college basketball. Antoine joins us. We had a chance to talk to him a little bit earlier this week, and now you get a chance to hear the conclusion of that conversation on this edition of Tighten Up, the podcast. So sit back, we jump right back into it, relax, and enjoy the conclusion of our chat with Antoine Davis. Antoine Davis joins us. How often would you talk to NBA scouts? I mean, I'm sure they came to a lot of those Detroit Mercy games. I don't know how often they're coming to G League games, but I mean, would you use that as a resource? Would you get a lot of feedback during those days?
They don't really come as much to see. So now in the G League, it's if you play a home game, it's going to be your people scouting you. Sometimes the two ways will come down and play with us. And sometimes I know when the two ways come down, I'm not going to play because they have to play a certain amount of time. Because at the end of the day, they're developing to be where they're supposed to be with the main team to help the main team out. So I get that. And sometimes when they come down, it's just I know I'm not going to play, so I'm going to watch and just prepare myself for whatever.
So how often is a team like Stockton? Because usually, for those who don't really follow G League basketball closely, most teams have as many as 3 two-way players, and sometimes they'll have an assignment player. Is there more than one player sometimes?
Yeah, so they have so we have 4 that are I think it's 2 two-ways and 2 assignments. So I think it's 4 or 5 people that have come down sometimes.
So that's as many as 5 different people who could be coming down at any given time.
Mm-hmm, and that's not counting the 8 you already have on the team, or 8 to 9 guys that you have on the team already. So
that makes things a little bit more complicated for somebody like you.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, it is what it is, because at the end of the day, they're trying to develop them into being, to help the main team out, help De'Aaron Fox and them, DeMar DeRozan. Those are going to be players that are going to be helping play alongside them, and they want to get them ready for that. And so I get that.
You're not too far away from guys like De'Aaron Fox and DeMar DeRozan. Do you ever get a chance to just pick those guys' brain, just to be in the same space? Have you gotten any opportunities with some of those guys?
I saw them during the summer because I played summer league with Sacramento. And you'll see him a couple times, but I mean, you really don't, because we have 2 different facilities. I was fortunate enough because last year we shared the same facility. So you'd always see Anthony Simons, or you'd always see Shaden Sharp. You would always see Scoot. You'd always see them because we all practice in the same place. So, but here they have their own practice facilities. So we got Stockton has theirs and Sacramento has theirs. So I never really get to see them that much to pick their brains and know.
I feel like one of the things that amazes me when I think back to your college career is the fact that you had the basketball as much as you had essentially for 5 years. I mean, just not just the way you did it, but almost every possession ran through you. And when people ask me, what's the most impressive thing about what you saw from Antoine, my answer always was honestly is the fact that he never got hurt. Like the fact that he just like I'm sure you were days where
Oh
you were
yeah,
not
yeah.
100%, but it didn't cause you to miss a lot of time. So I mean, how did that happen? How did you keep yourself in game shape and able to go through the grind like that, especially for being the size you are? I mean, that's nothing short of incredible to me.
Yeah. Honestly, just getting somebody like Mike Davis, somebody like just somebody that motivates you and just someone that always pushes you. And he's pushed me so hard to where like I push through injuries, I push through sicknesses, illnesses, practice through injuries, practice through illnesses. Cause like now it's like up at this level, sometimes like if you get hurt or whatever in the G League, it's like it's next man up and it might be over with for you, and so or they might trade you because you get hurt or whatever. It's like it will always be something. So I just never wanted to be in that position at all. So it's taught me to fight through certain pains, aches, sickness. If I'm sick, I still go to practice unless I'm like about to die. I'm still gonna go to practice. So my dad just really put that in my mind, and that's carried over. I haven't sat out, and I got hurt last year. That was probably the most I ever sat out for a certain. Like I sat out for 4 games, and I played the last game of the year. So like 4 games was like the most, and I sat out 4 games over my course of 5 years playing college. So sitting out 4 games for me, that was like so different because I'm so used to playing through stuff like. So I'm just I don't know. I just have that mindset now just to play through everything.
How did you keep yourself busy missing 4 straight games? What did you do with yourself?
I was in a boot. I have no idea. I just sitting there shooting, dribbling, come home, just play the game, try to occupy myself, but I don't know. I just not practicing. It didn't feel right. It never feels right.
Can you still play video games in that situation?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. What are you playing nowadays?
Now that they brought it back, I play NCAA football probably more than anything.
What
more
team
than 2K
have you brought back from the dead?
I brought back Bama.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
I had to bring back Bama. Miami. Miami's actually the team I've been rooting for this year, and I was mad they didn't make the playoffs. But
Cam Ward's a fun player to have.
Yeah, he is. He is him. They got Restrepo, the wide receiver. They got some really good. They got some pieces, and I love playing with them on the game too because they got so much speed, and Cam Ward's so much fun to play to use on the game. So.
Well, there's a saying, real recognize real. So when it comes to college football, who's your favorite college football player this season?
I would definitely say Cam Ward. I admire his approach to the game too. Like he works really hard and just like, him. I like Genty too. He didn't have a good game last night, but I do like Genty. Like I was rooting for him just being a mid-major guy. I was rooting for him. So even Travis Hunter, even though he went to Colorado, he still went to Jackson State. He still went to a mid-major school. So like I'm always rooting for the mid-major players.
It's funny you mention mid-major players, and I think about Genty. He came so close to breaking a record last night. And he came up.
It reminds you of something, huh?
It reminds me of something that happened. And I think about what happened with you a couple of years ago. I mean, looking back, are you surprised that you didn't get it, that you came as close as you did? How does that all sit now that the dust settled?
Yeah, I mean, I was just because you pass so many people going up through it, like you don't even I don't even realize I passed Machine Gun Kelly, or I realized I passed Larry Bird in scoring. It's like that's just unreal to think of. So like, even being, I used to be upset about it a little bit. I mean, I didn't let it get to me as much. I mean, because I always looked at it like I'm the number one scorer of my generation of basketball. So Pete was the number one scorer of his generation of basketball. So just being number two behind him, really number three, because Caitlin Clark is number two, or number one, really. She's the all time, so I'm number three. But just being in that category with just like being in that category with that group of players is like you don't even think about it. And it still really hasn't hit me to this day. Like, did you pass certain people that are like college basketball legends and NBA legends and champions and everything? Like, that still really hasn't even hit with me either.
It was kind of cool when Caitlin Clark was making that pursuit of Pete Maravich, and as she started to close in and as she got through those final points, I felt like that Leo DiCaprio meme sitting on the couch pointing at the TV because I heard them mention your name. And I remember saying, yeah, that's right. Of course, you better mention him. I mean, how much did you watch of that? I know you have your own career to work.
Oh yeah, no, I was tapped in to watching that, because that's like, this is a part of history. Like, even me not breaking it, it's still like the pursuit of it happening is still a part of history. Like, some people will never forget, and it's like I just like had to see, like, seeing it for your own eyes is like, I'll remember this forever. Like, I got to see this. I even got to be a part of it. Like, some people don't even get to say that.
What impressed you most about Caitlin Clark?
Her shooting ability and playmaking. Like, she's even playing really good in the WNBA. She started off slow, but I mean, everybody starts off slow because the pace of the game's so much different from college to the pros. Like, it's a different pace you have to go at. They scout you a little harder. It's different. Like, they know your ins and outs, your weaknesses. They know he's not a really good shooter going left. He's not a really good shooter going right. Either or, like, they know it. They study that a little bit more. And so just like once you get acclimated, I mean, it was only going to be through the roof at that point. I mean, because, I mean, she could really score, really pass. I mean, that's all you need. So, I mean, that once you get comfortable, like, it took me a while to get going. So, like, once you get comfortable and adjust to the game, it's like, it's easy.
A lot of people were saying at the beginning of her WNBA career, she was getting fouled really, really hard at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, as somebody who's been fouled hard a time or two, I feel like you might be able to speak on that better because you've gone through it. Did you see that? Did you feel like that was the case?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can really say. I mean, yeah, they were. It's like every meme you saw, or every time I go on ESPN, you see a hard foul happen to her or something like that. It's like, it's crazy. I mean, it is what it is. You got to, when you have all that attention on you, I mean, some people just, I wouldn't even say it's jealousy or whatever, but I mean, when you got so much attention on you, people are going to want to go at you and see what you're made of. And so just like to see if you're back down or not. And so I think that's what it was, just like a test. And she handled it well, just from a mental standpoint, and just showing the game and just playing the game the right way.
I think about you and all the times that you got hit hard going to the basket, and whether it was a foul or it wasn't called, even though it could have been called. I mean, again, going back to the fact that you missed 4 games in 5 years. I mean, that's a small miracle. And now that you're in the G League, I am curious because now you're playing with some much bigger dudes than you played with in the Horizon League. So what's that adjustment like? Because you played with some big guys in the conference you were in, and now you're playing with guys who are bigger than that.
Yeah. I tried to. That's why I got my floaters and my mid ranges and the ability to shoot the three. Because, I mean, like you said, there are some, and they foul a lot down here too. Like, because everybody wants to make it. Everybody wants to get that call up. Like, people are hungry. People want to people want to get to that next level. People want to provide for their family. So I get it, and just you're playing super, super hard. And that's what it is. It's almost like AAU a little bit. You're just like out there. The game could be going so fast sometimes. And so I normally just try and stay away from the paint as much as I can. I just shoot my little floater, my one dribble pull-ups, and shoot threes. I mean, all they want me to do here is shoot threes. So I just do what they tell me to do anyway. So
it's funny you say that everybody's out here trying to provide for their family. Everybody's, trying to put food on the table and all that. We had Eli Holman on one of these shows not too long ago. And I know he's somebody that you got to know pretty well during your time at Detroit Mercy. And one of the things he told us was that before almost every game he played, Earl Curitan would actually say that to him before games. He would actually go up to him and say, hey, that guy right there is trying to take food off your table. That guy is trying to. So I'm curious because he gave him that pep talk. I'm just curious if he ever gave Antoine Davis a pep talk like that.
Earl, no, I didn't get that pep talk. I didn't get that pep talk. I got some wise words from Earl, but that wasn't. I didn't get that pep talk.
I'm sure you did. We all did. And as everybody is hearing this, Detroit Mercy has just played Robert Morris over the course of the weekend, and Earl is the only person who is a member of both of the Hall of Fames of both Robert Morris and the University of Detroit Mercy. And of course, we were all shocked and saddened that we lost Earl over the course of last year. So I did want to give you an opportunity just to speak on what Earl meant to you, because I know he was somebody that was really important.
Yeah. Earl was a great human, just a great mentor, great person in general. Like, he helped me so much. He even helped me with my I still ain't never forgot that he helped me with my my project for my school project. He did it. He helped me during COVID. And I was sitting there on the phone with him. He'd give me all these. I'm just giving him questions to answer, so he can hopefully I can get an aid on this project for me. And then afterwards, we just sat there and talked. Like, he was so motivational. Like, I don't even know what to say. I mean, he was a great person. And it happened so all of a sudden I didn't even have time to even like really think about it and reflect on it. It just happened so quick. But he was a really good person. He really helped me with everything, from helping my don't listen to your dad, just keep being you sometimes. Your dad's always gonna be really hard on you, but it's what it's for and what it's meant for and stuff like that. So he helped me with that too. He's a great person, and he'll be best.
And he is. And one of the points you made in there was interesting, because I think it's a good reminder that there's a lot of places that you can play a sport. You can go through athletics at the Division I level, whether it be a power major, a mid major, but school at Detroit Mercy is hard.
Yeah, it's hard. Really, really hard.
What makes it a challenge?
Just like the work and stuff. Like, I had to get out of my I was a business major my freshman year, and I almost flunked out being a business major. So I had to get out of that business major stuff. That math was too hard for me. I couldn't do it.
And what did you end up doing instead?
I did communications. I just say I need something a little bit easier than that, because that math. The only reason I didn't do the business major is because the math was super hard. I couldn't get the math at all.
Well, lucky for you, you only had to add by threes the next 4 years.
That's it.
Communications, I remember, because I think it was your sophomore year. I think you had a project because you did something with us on a post-game show. So I remember you coming on with us once upon a time. So what else did you do when it came to communications that you remember?
I remember I had to do I had to do a project with Ray McCullum in
Junior or
when
senior?
I think it was no junior, and it was COVID year, and we had a project to do together, and we ended up it was like a group project. It was like me and like three or four other people, and he was one of the other people, and so I just we did a group project together. I can't even remember what it was about, but I know we did one together.
So he in your class, or was he
Yeah,
really?
he was in one of the classes. He was overseas still, I guess, doing his classes and stuff, and we were on a project together.
No kidding. That's like
Yeah,
that's literally a clash of the Titans. Like
yeah,
that's like the Avengers all of a sudden coming together in a movie.
right, exactly.
That's wild. And nobody ever knew that the two of you guys came together. So was that the only time that you guys linked up for something like that?
Yeah, it was for class.
That's so wild. I mean,
Ain't that something?
talk about two of the most central figures of about a decade's worth of Detroit Mercy basketball.
Right.
How's Mike Jr. doing? Talk to me about his gig.
He's good. He's an assistant at Texas Southern for the women's basketball team. So he's doing good. He's doing good. He's enjoying that.
And of course, Dad he was a consultant over at Memphis, and now he's worked himself into being an assistant coach for Penny Hardaway at Memphis.
Yep. He's enjoying that too. They love him over there. They think he is the basketball guru, and that's what he is. He is a basketball guru.
He is Mr. X's and O's. And
yes, he is.
I just got done watching the ESPN 30 for 30, this magic moment. I don't know if you got a chance to watch that yet, but that takes people back to the Shaq and Penny era of Orlando Magic basketball. And it is, first of all, a dynamite documentary because, I mean, there was a time where, I personally growing up, Shaq was cool, but I think Penny was even cooler. Like Shaq was just, he was the most dominant force, but Penny was the smoothest player of that generation for a period of time. Have you gotten a chance to talk to Penny?
A little bit. I talked to him because San Francisco is an hour and 15 minutes away from Sacramento, and my dad Memphis played San Francisco right at where the Warriors play. So we went up there and watched them play, and I got to kind of talk to him a little bit, just say what's up. Not really too much, but I think when I probably this summer I'll probably go down to Memphis for a little bit. I'll probably get to talk to him a little bit more.
Tighten Up is brought to you by Last Shot Premium Hydration, the official hydration drink of Tighten Up, the podcast. Their revolutionary formula is jam-packed with vitamin B12 and 0 grams of sugar. It helps the Titans hydrate, replenish, and recover. Try it at Callahan Hall during a Titans game or learn more at lastshotofficial.com.
You know, it just hit me, and I was just thinking back on your college career, and we kind of glossed over this, but the last time you threw on a Detroit Mercy jersey, you were actually winning a three-point shootout. You were actually winning that three-point contest, and I totally forgot about that. For those people who didn't get a chance to see that, take people back to what that was and what happened.
Oh, that was fun. I mean, just I prepared for it. I mean, my dad, you know how my dad is. My dad's super. You got to prepare for the blah blah blah, this and that. So he used to make me shoot the ball rack all the way around, come back all the way around. He used to make me do it in the time. So I was super prepared for it. So I knew I was going to win going into it just from the fact that I knew I was that much prepared for it than everybody else. So it was just that was super fun though. I got to see Demoy. He played with Demoy Hodge playing with Cleveland State. He was with Missouri. That was his last year. And it's funny because I actually got to play with Demoy too. He was on my team, with my remix team. and he was on my he didn't play summer league for them, but he was supposed to play summer league for Sacramento before he got hurt. So we were going to end up playing on the same team with each other again. So, but that whole Houston that was cool. And then the money after, I didn't even know we were supposed to win money after. I just thought it was the 3-point contest. That was it. I didn't know there was a prize to it.
I didn't know there was a prize to it either. That's big time. And that was in Houston, was it not?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it was in Houston.
That's cool. That's really cool. That had to be a little icing on top. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, I think back to everything that you did, and I know we covered a lot of ground here, but now Detroit Mercy has, they've got a new head coach and they have themselves a couple of wins this year. So I know with your own career, I know that time is limited, but I'm sure you try your best to keep tabs on.
Oh yeah.
So tell me, what do you notice about, because I know Mark Montgomery is somebody that you are familiar with. So what is your read on this whole situation?
I mean, they went from one great coach to another, because Mark Montgomery, when he came and helped us, was a COVID year, and we went on that little 8-1 stretch. He really helped us on that 8-1 stretch, just from a getting prepared standpoint, and from the practices and the stuff he used to have us doing and everything. I just knew he was going to be a really good coach, a really good head coach one day. And just now, I'm not surprised that he's came in and already helped the Titans for the most part. I mean, this is first year. I mean, I know the first year is always rough, but I feel like Detroit Mercy's in really good hands with him, because he's a really good coach. And I always got their I got the ESPN app, so I got the little bell every time they play. I know when they're playing. I try and go on one of them streaming services and watch the game, or ESPN Plus or something. I always try to tap in and watch the game. So I try to watch as much as I can.
That's very cool. And I know it means a lot to them to hear you say that, because I mean, you've got a name and a number that hangs there, and that's going to hang there forever. So, you are a woven part of the fabric of the University of Detroit Mercy. So look, I can't thank you enough for doing this. And I know that there's a lot of people that you made very happy for many, many years, myself included. I'll just leave it to you if there's anything else that you'd like to say to the people. I mean, this is a show that has been put together by the Shield, the NIL collective, basically because we're trying to help give the student athletes a chance to continue their initiatives to help out in the community. So if there's anything else that you'd like to say to the fans, because I know that they were some of your biggest advocates for 5 years. You could have gone other places and you decided to stick it out there for 5 years. I'll leave you with the last word on all this.
When I watch the games, I normally always see the same fans there and the same people. I mean, it's like some stuff just doesn't even change. And, just have dedicated fans like that is always a good thing to see. And, I miss the fans a lot. I miss playing in that gym. I miss playing in Callahan Hall. So I never took that for granted. I never took all the love and support that I got over the years for granted. Just, I know obviously my dad being the coach giving me an opportunity, but just accepting me and him and my brother and my mom and everybody, just it's a blessing. And with that type of fan support, I mean, you don't deserve nothing but the best. And so I pray Detroit Mercy goes as far as it needs to go, and I'm always going to be there to support right behind y'all. So I did that. Hopefully I can, one of these days, I'd come up there and watch a game or something like that. I want my schedule with the G League to collide so bad with one of the college games, so I can go to a game. I'm mad I don't get to go to Detroit this year and play, but I mean, but when the time comes for me to have to come to a game, I'm definitely going to show up and come and support fully.
Yeah, something tells me that there's going to be that opportunity.
Something. I hope. Yeah, I think so. I think so too.
Antoine, great stuff. Great hour. Appreciate you taking the time. Always good to see you. And
Good to see you too.
And thank you very much for taking the time with us.
No, yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Now time for a brand new segment we'd like to introduce here on Tighten Up. It is called Titan Trackdown.
Titan Trackdown.
That's right, Titan Trackdown allows us to check in on some of the other things happening with some of the other teams and student athletes at the University of Detroit Mercy. And we track down men's soccer. Nate Kopenick's team just produced a draft pick to the professional ranks. Josh Copeland, a local product from Brother Rice, just got drafted in the first round of the MLS Super Draft. Congratulations to Josh Copeland. What a great story. Number 26 overall. Josh Copeland being drafted to the Colorado Rapids, the first student athlete in program history to be drafted in the first round, the second to be drafted following Adam Bedell, who was taken in the third round by the Columbus Crew back in 2014. The last Detroit Mercy student athlete to be selected in any professional draft was a first-rounder, Kyle Waters, 6th overall in the National Lacrosse League. He's a sophomore on the team, just finished his second fall season at Detroit Mercy. Their season actually came down to the last game of the season to make the playoffs. Unfortunately, they did not get what they wanted out of that, but they really did challenge themselves. If you look at their non-conference schedule, they really did go after it, especially in the early part of the season, and it's such a way to go about your schedule, to give yourselves that kind of challenge early in the year. They ended up playing 5 teams that made the NCAA tournament last year. Notre Dame was also on the schedule. They did not make the NCAA tournament, but there's no doubt they certainly scheduled up. They also recruited very heavily from the state of Michigan. Out of the 32 players, nearly 25 were from the state of Michigan, another 4 from Ohio. They also have one of the highest team GPAs in the entire department. And a huge thanks to Nate Kopenick for giving us some access to men's soccer in this edition of Titan Trackdown. And that does it for this edition of Tighten Up the podcast. You can find me on X at @DanHasty, on Instagram at @DanHasty. And I'll talk to all of you Titans of industry next time.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Tighten Up, the podcast. Join our community at The Shield on theshieldnil.org and follow us on X and Instagram at theshieldnil.
If I can tell you one thing above all else as part of this show, it would be this. If you're unfamiliar, if you haven't done it before, join the community at The Shield Online. It's online at theshieldnil.org. That's theshieldnil.org.